Hogstye.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Hogseye. Happy Christmas to you all, because I'm sure you're all sitting there ignoring your family and listening to this show on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day.
Who says Happy Christmas?
I think all the British.
We don't do Brits here, okay?
I mean, my family says Happy Christmas because the only Christian side of my family is British. So,
but just repeat after me, okay? Merry Christmas.
It sounds so weird.
Just
Merry
repeat.
Christmas,
Do what
everyone.
Stop arguing and do what I say. Repeat after me. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. It just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas really throws me
That's
because
the only
it just
way it
doesn't
rolls
roll off. It doesn't roll off the tongue. Happy
I'm not
Christmas.
Friggin' Santa Claus. Why would I run around shouting that?
You're fat enough for Santa Claus.
I'm no longer fat enough for Santa Claus. We have a friend who's a professional Santa, also Jewish. I'll put that out
Does
there.
he get paid? So he's a professional Santa, so he gets paid to
to
sit
be
in
a
the shopping
Santa
mall?
animal kind of stuff. Yeah, he's a good guy, and he was actually doing it down in Texas, even though he doesn't live there. He was hired by a mall in Texas to be Santa.
Is it in the Houston area?
San Antonio.
Now, my next question would be: do you know how much a mall Santa for hire gets
I've
paid?
never asked. I didn't know he was doing it until this year. I haven't talked to him about it.
Because my initial thought would be like minimum wage, but if he's moving to Texas for the Christmas season,
I think the top-notch guys, the ones with real beards, not like cheap beards, and they probably have like a high-end Santa outfit.
There's a
you
hierarchy
got to pay a
of
premium.
Santas.
Yeah.
And they even glue their beards in place so the kids don't pull them off.
Well, no. Like his is he's got a full-time Santa beard. He's legit.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Even though he and I are the same age, it's just all gray.
Does he have a stomach the size of a spare
Oh
tire?
yeah, he's got the full look.
So he might be the actual Santa then.
He might be, other than the fact that he's like in his 40s, and I think Santa's like 100,000 years old or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't think he's that old because he'd be a caveman. So
Yeah.
he's not 100,000 years old.
He's an immortal, Steve. I don't think it matters.
I don't think Santa was around in caveman days.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
don't know what the rules were.
There's no hieroglyphics with Santa Claus, okay?
There's a flying chariot somewhere in a hieroglyph. I'm sure of that.
What are we talking about here?
I don't know. Hey, before we get into the show, I want to give you guys, because Steve likes to do his music recommendations, movie recommendation.
Okay.
Godzilla -1, if you guys haven't seen it.
I haven't yet. I heard really good things about it.
It's
You're about the third person to
amazing.
tell me that.
And that's
It's
the one
really
with Kurt Russell, right? Not Kurt Russell.
It's
No.
Japanese
That's
production.
the like American thing on Apple TV about like the whole Godzilla franchise we've been doing here. Godzilla -1 is a Japanese filmmaker, like the original people making it takes place in 1945 Godzilla movie.
Here's what I've heard about it. You tell me.
Amazing.
So what I've heard is there's no agenda. There's no politics. There's no anything. They're just telling a great story. That's what I heard about it.
Well, there is a lot of, because the original Godzilla movie had a lot of politics in it because it was about Japan losing the World War.
Well, and Godzilla was hypothetically a caused by radioactivity.
Right, and he's a stand-in for the nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
This definitely plays into that.
Okay.
And they're very blatant and not subtle at all about Godzilla is the nuclear bomb. And you're just helpless peasants, and you can do nothing to stop it. Like that.
So there's politics. It's just not the politics that irritates all of us.
Right.
Right.
On my side.
Talking about World War II era Japanese politics. You don't care about that.
I would suggest that they need to get over it, but
it made for a very gripping story. Like, it's not just monster movie; it's a great story.
I've been meaning to see it. I just haven't had a chance to catch it in the theater yet.
It kind of came out of nowhere because there's that other one that Dave's talking about with Kurt Russell that's on Apple, which is like what is it called, Monarch or whatever the name of that?
Yeah, the Legend of Monarch or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. This is like an old school Japanese Godzilla movie. It's epic. Subtitles.
I don't do Apple TV or anything, so
Yeah. This is in movie theaters. You might have to hunt for it a little because it's not everywhere. Because again,
it's in my theater, like near my house. I've been meaning to go. I just haven't had a chance to
check
get
it
out there yet. Yeah.
It's the best movie I've seen this year. is what I would say.
You're like the second or third person that's told me that.
Yeah, and it, again, came out of nowhere.
Newsflash to Hollywood.
Mhm.
Now I wonder because that Godzilla looks almost exactly like the one in the MonsterVerse are doing now. I wonder if that's like a prequel.
No,
they ever
I don't
mention
think-
anything like that at all?
It's,
Or is it
not,
completely
it's a
separate
Japanese production completely.
Yeah,
Sure, I get
it's their
that.
own thing. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, the character of Godzilla is 100 years, or not 100. It's what, from the 50s? Like, it's kind of always looked that way.
I grew up watching Godzilla. It was always one of my favorites.
Yeah, we all did.
What I heard about
even though it
this
shows the
movie,
corniest.
what I heard about the movie is like the special effects aren't computer generated. They're all kind of old school created special effects. That's what
I think
somebody
there's a
told me.
mix of them.
Most
There's
of them,
definitely
at
some
least.
CGI.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised to find out that they tried to do some animatronics and stuff. It's not a dude in a rubber suit, but
Right.
It definitely harkens back to like the 50s Godzilla movies.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, is this movie set up to where I could take my grandson to?
It's PG-13. How old's your grandson?
Nah, never mind.
No.
You also have to be able to read. Is he a baby or can he read? I mean, I don't know how old
Oh
your
no,
grandson-
no! It's just all about just watching the monster go around and
Oh, okay.
No, it's not
stepping
that
on
movie.
everything. No, it's not that movie.
No.
I mean,
Show him one of the ones from the 50s or 60s. Really, like when it got like weird with the color and like Godzilla versus
I
Mothra.
know.
Show him that.
Yeah,
When
I
Godzilla's
know exactly what you're
dancing,
talking about.
that's what you show him. And you might have to fast forward through all the like the non-Godzilla parts.
right.
In fact,
he's real
maybe
big
just-
in dinosaurs and everything, so he'll just correlate that beautifully.
Find him the Mystery Science Theater Godzilla movies, so he can just laugh at the jokes. Those are universal.
How old is this child?
Oh, he's 2 years old.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, first of all, if he can't read movie subtitles yet, I think he's behind in his educational endeavors. First of all,
Or
I don't know
doesn't
whose
speak
fault that
Japanese.
is. I blame you or
Actually-
his mother or who.
Actually, he's reading books to his pop now.
Oh,
So
that's
that's where he's
great.
at.
That's
And
great.
that's not speaking much to my educational level now, mind you.
That kind of implies that your reading level is at that of a 2-year-old.
That's being nice.
What's this word? That's an A, Papa.
I have a concert report real fast.
Oh, you got a concert?
This is
Okay, go for
80s
it.
extravaganza. I went to Warrant, Winger, Lita Ford at Steelheart.
Yeah, you were mentioning that was coming.
Oh yeah, I mean, first of all, when you have 4 bands and they don't start till 7 o'clock, it makes for a late night.
What time did you get out of there? Out of curiosity.
11:40.
That's not too bad.
Well, nobody did any encores.
Mhm.
Warrant was last, and they just played their set. The lead singer made a specific points because I was like the young one in the crowd, and the singer of Warrant, who is a replacement for the departed deceased Janie Lane, kept repeating, "Stay with me, because they've got a bunch of old people in the
Sure.
arena, and it's like 11 o'clock is past everybody's Metamucil time, But I recommend it. Great show.
Yeah.
The guy from Steelheart's got an amazing voice, and he can still do it. Great show. If it
I was
comes
only
to your
asking
show.
because when I was listening to the radio, they were talking about the Madonna tour that's come through DC, and apparently she goes to like 1:32 in the morning.
No,
which
thank you.
Just sounds awful.
I don't want to hear a geriatric grandma screeching at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Even if it was a
bad pop
good
songs.
performance, I don't think I want to be up till that late.
I don't want to see Madonna. Period.
Well, yeah, not my thing.
I've
either.
never been a fan of her voice, singing, music, anything.
Also, she's disgusting
never
in
knew
every
what-
possible way too. So
I mean, she ruined Guy Ritchie's career. That's all I'll say. He made 2 blockbuster or banger movies in Lock, Stock, and 2 Smoking Barrels and Snatch, and then they started dating. I think after that, and all his stuff went to crap. So I blame her for that. We lost Steve for a second, so we'll vamp until Steve gets back. Dave, that was a ugly game that we had last weekend, Sunday.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. I guess we'll talk about that when Steve gets back. So you got your Christmas shopping done. I said I got mine done. I don't think Steve got
Yes.
his done.
Well, he kind of gave that little hesitation, like he
Yeah, he
wasn't.
hemmed
I
and
wasn't
hawed there when
sure.
we were talking before the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if he's one of them last
Oh,
minute guys.
there he's
running.
back. He's
there
back. That
he
will be
is.
cool.
So we use Skype to record these shows.
Yeah.
Skype randomly, for no reason, just signed me out and closed itself.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what happened.
But we don't want to pay for Zoom, and we don't want to pay for. We're definitely not paying for Teams. Teams is way too expensive. So
We're too cheap here at the Hog Side to get
we
real
don't
software.
have money.
No.
This setup works anyway. It worked
yeah,
perfectly.
It
fine.
works. Yeah.
So we have Steve that signs off automatically, and I come in a little late. It's okay.
Yeah.
But you came in late. You coming in late is your fault. Skype
Oh, I
signs
know.
itself
I
out
know.
for no reason
No, I
whatsoever.
get you. I get you. I
Don't
get you.
quit put us on the same level. That's all I'm saying.
All right. We should talk about the games.
Yes,
Now
let's.
that that's all happened, Steve, we kind of vamped a little while you were gone. Just
Probably wondered what the heck happened to me.
Yeah, we were worried. You know.
Actually, I'll be honest with you. The last image I saw of your face, and it blacked out. It was almost like something of an emergency happened, and you just had to go. I was like,
Well, because I saw like a box popped up, and I thought, what is the box? And then it just all,
What's
Right.
in the box? Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't know. What is in the box?
Yeah.
All right, you want to do stats for the Rams game?
Yeah. Let's go through the ugly.
right. Okay. For the Rams game, on the Washington side, Sam Howell was 11 for 26, 102 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Quarterback rating of 27.9. New starting quarterback Jacoby Brissett, 8 for 10, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. Quarterback rating of 94.1. Chris Rodriguez is the leading rusher at 10 carries, so 35 yards. Yikes. That's bad. Terry McLaurin had a career day. We'll talk about it. 6 for 141 yards, receiving 1 touchdown on 12 targets. And Cameron Cheeseman, like to point out, lost a fumble. He got credited for that. Tackles, Khaleke Hudson, 13 tackles, 8 solo. Cody Barton, 13, 5 solo. And the sacks were Jartavius Martin. Look, he finally did something good. Deron Payne, 2 sacks. And on the Rams side, Matthew Stafford, 25 for 33, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 83.5. Leading rusher was Kyron Williams, 27 for 152 yards. That's 5.6 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. Leading receiver Cooper Kupp, 8 for 111. Puka Nacua, 5 for 50. Now, we are going to play the Trustway game today.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Before we start,
Okay.
how does the yardage from the Cam Cheeseman bad snap get counted?
Well, it's not passing yards and it's not rushing yards.
Right. So is that negative yardage for Tressway, or is that negative yardage for the offense?
I'm going with what ESPN says Tressway did.
Okay.
And so what ESPN is crediting him with the number of punts Tressway made. That's what they're crediting with.
Okay.
right.
Okay. So the question of the day. So together, Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell had 218 yards passing. And that is gross yards passing. The rushing yards, 79 yards rushing total.
So just under 300 yards.
Yes. So did Tressway outpunt the entire Washington offense? Drum roll, please.
I'm going to say no.
I'll say no as well.
You're right in this case. He had 5 punts for only 203 yards for an average of 40.6, which is a down day for Tress.
Right. See,
40.6
I think
pretty low.
If that injury snap hadn't happened, it would have been closer. Because he could have gotten 90 yards on that thing.
Just blame that bastard Cheeseman.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure Cheeseman went to Alex's number 1 on hit list after that.
I was getting my bow and arrow ready.
Okay. So I want to save the quarterback thing. Let's do that at the end of the game discussion. That leads into a larger discussion. So what I would recommend we starting with is the fact that Washington gave up 152 yards to Kyron Williams, 5.6 yards per carry.
Yeah, they just got gashed there. I mean, the the defense, I actually got in a little argument there with Chick Hernandez. He thinks this team hasn't quit, and I'm like, the defense quit, week 3.
I think they quit a month ago. Yeah, at least.
Yeah. I mean, they've been letting themselves get gashed for a while. Obviously, even though Jamin Davis isn't a world beater, losing him really hurt them in the run game, I think.
Sad as that is to say.
Yeah. Although Khaleke Hudson, did, I think, as good as you'd expect him to do. He's just, he's a spot backup.
Khaleke Hudson actually had a career day in this game. I put him in the takeaways just because all those tackles. Yeah. He's never had a game like that before.
Well, they don't give him the opportunities. Let's be clear.
That's true.
That's a big reason why he had a career day is he doesn't get shots to do what he did this week. But clearly not having Davis there hurt. I think ever since they pulled Mayo back out from the starting role, their running game has been down. I'd have to go back and look at the exact numbers, but I wouldn't be surprised if those bear out.
Well, since you're talking about it, so run defense. Washington, as measured by yards per attempt, is at 4.5 yards per attempt surrendered, which is tied for 27th with the Chiefs.
Right. Not great.
Right.
No. Yeah. Not great. And in terms of attempts against, teams actually haven't run against them that much. It's they have 376 attempts, which is the least is the 49ers at 293, and Washington by that measure is 14th, which is in the middle no matter how you stack it up.
Yeah. So I mean, their defense right now is on pace to be historically bad. It looks like
it's a very inefficient. We've talked about this, but how is it that Kyron Williams can do this when we've got 2 first-round draft picks in the interior of the defensive line,
right?
Including a guy who's made 2 Pro Bowls, 1 Pro Bowl, 2 Pro Bowls.
I think both of them at least made 1, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, most of his runs were everything. A lot of it was like mostly all tackle or guard tackle right there. Anyway, they avoided most of Payne and Allen because everything else was so susceptible. I mean, most of his runs kept coming, to the outside. He bounced it to the outside or whatever. I mean, it was nothing. And also, you also have McVay, who's kind of creative in his run designs. Yeah. Causes misdirection. So he pulls the safeties away, and it's when you only have 2 defenders on that whole entire defense that can stop the run. I mean, it's pretty easy to run against. I mean, regardless of how much they're getting paid and whether they're Pro Bowlers or not, that doesn't even matter at this point.
I mean, you make a good point about the play calling, about the run call. Why would you run right at them if you don't have to when they have a bunch of bums out there for everybody else? Good point.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
and especially when you have corners that just refuse to tackle. They can't tackle.
How many missed? That's another point I wanted to bring up. Give me a second here to pull it up because Washington's had a absolute ton of missed tackles.
Yeah. How many? Does it show how many St. Juice had?
No. I mean, not the stats I have lined up here. No.
Yeah. Because to me, I mean, unless I'm just over exaggerating my mind, to me it just seemed like the only thing he's been doing lately is just lowering his shoulder and just like diving in a direction, hoping it got to be a speed bump.
Yeah. As a team, Washington has 82 missed tackles, which is I gotta count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. So it's just 16th. Tied for 7th.
Middle of the pack there, surprisingly.
Middle of the pack, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like they would be towards the bottom, but that's better than I expected.
And speaking of Benjamin St. Juice, I mean, we can't let this go without wondering what the hell him and Cam Curl were doing on Cooper Kupp's walk-in to. I studied this film.
Yeah.
And it looked like they were in zone.
Right.
The safety, which was Percy Butler, was single high. He was on the other side of the field. Now, what we don't know is if they're playing cover 3, then the corner is supposed to go all the way down, with the receiver, but it wasn't really abundantly clear. It looked like to me like it was probably on St. Jude's because Curl played it like that play like he was supposed to be up.
Yeah, he was playing like that mid cover the flats, cover the guy right
exactly.
behind you.
So it looked to
spot.
me like St.
Yeah.
Jude's probably should have gone with him and just got confused because the other
Right.
receiver was there too. And Percy Butler just utterly failed to recognize whatsoever
Right.
where he's
You
supposed to be.
usually would think that's the safety's fault when something like that happens, but I'm with you. When I watched replays of that, it really does look like that was on St. Jude's because
Right.
he's double covering somebody with somebody else. So
Right.
yeah.
That
What-
we've seen this over and over again all year. Sorry, Dave,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And wasn't he also isolated on Cup on that play too? So if he
That
was
was-
isolated, as in, I believe it was not whoever the number 3 guy was in that game. It wasn't Atwater at that time or whatever Atwell. But when they motioned him over to the other side of the field, they had like 2 or 3 receivers to that side. They isolated St. Juice on him. So in my mind, I could be wrong. You gotta let me know. But when that happens and he becomes isolated like that, the safety's responsibility shifts over. Now it becomes almost more of a man-to-man where he can't release him to go deep. He has to stick with him going deep on that, unless I'm wrong on that.
Well, I think we're both right because I still don't know what Percy Butler's doing.
Right.
When the entire play was on the defensive right side of the field.
I got news
Right.
for you. I've not known what Percy Butler's been doing most of the season.
That's a good point.
No,
you know,
that's a good point too. Yeah.
there was nobody on the
Yeah.
defensive left side of the field at all in the secondary. There wasn't.
Percy Butler might be one of the worst safeties I've seen play for this team in a long time.
I think they all need to go, including Cam Curl.
Well,
You
I mean,
you didn't forget the name Bakari Rambo, did you?
Bakari Rambo. Wow,
yeah,
there's a name.
Bakari Rambo is pretty bad.
Yes.
That's true.
But I digress. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll talk about what they're gonna do with Curl because it's an interesting question. He is, like, externally, a lot of people see him as like the top strong safety in the offseason.
Well,
in free
he's
agency.
kind of the king of the fools a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah, but
And I think his dad's a pain in the butt.
on social media and all that stuff, yeah.
Well, I've barely seen it, but just what little I've seen, it seems like a giant pain in the rear.
Yeah, he's
so.
rather annoying on social media, that's for sure. And if he's listening to this, dude, back off. Like, you're making your son look bad like this.
He's an adult, support him privately. Don't just jump all over social media about him. That's
Or
my
be
recommendation.
positive. Don't be a dick. Like,
a better way to say it.
yeah. What was it we used to say on ignore the ass clown? Like, that he's that's you right now, Bakari Rambo's dad. So, like, simmer
Not
down.
Bakari Rambo.
Or I'm sorry, not Bakari Rambo. No, I just loved Bakari Rambo's name so much.
It's kind of a shame his name wasn't Bacardi Rambo, because that would be like a drunk Rambo running around. That's funny. I'm just all about the humor of it.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of me in college. Anytime I took my shirt off.
In fact,
Cam
Curl's father should sit down and watch the documentary Bye Bye Sanders for Barry Sanders and take note on how his father handled the media with Barry Sanders. And I mean, he was nowhere near on the level of what you see on some of these fathers out here with their parents.
Yeah.
But
I would love to see a counter to that of RG3's dad and Cam Curl's dad and Dion now with his son.
Yeah, but RG's dad was not all over the media.
Well, Twitter and stuff wasn't what it was back then.
Okay, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
That's what he might have been a pain to the team.
Right.
But he wasn't all over whatever social media existed at the time, at least that I ever saw.
Sure. But again, and I think
he was
part
more
of
like a stage diva dad than just a general pain in the butt like Greg Curl seems to be.
I would be curious to see what would have happened if Twitter was a big thing in 2012, or what it is now. I think Twitter was around, but it wasn't what it is. But yeah. Other takeaways on defense.
Their defense sucks and have quit. That's my takeaway.
Yeah.
They quit a long time ago. They suck. The play, the parts mesh very poorly. The linebackers need to get a job, a real job, and they need an entire new secondary. There's my
I'll
takeaway.
put it this, I believe it was at the Chicago game. Wasn't that the game where Ron Rivera put up a sign, "Do your job"?
Yeah.
Yeah, great coach in there, isn't it? Do your job.
I mean,
yeah.
Exactly. At that point, I'm sorry, but I think that's when he started losing the rest of the team. If he didn't lose anybody at that point, that's where I think he started losing
Well,
the rest of the
it
team.
doesn't surprise me that not long after that, Jonathan Allen was kind of speaking up a lot more.
So I still blame Jonathan Allen. I mean, you're a captain.
Oh, I do too,
the
but
best face.
I'm saying I think a bad message was sent out team wide at that moment.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So that's not even the interesting part of this game, though. So the offense is more interesting, and and they have no running game, whatsoever. And just by attempts, by the way, it's 36 attempts, passing attempts, 21 rushing attempts. And so if you do some basic math here real fast, that is 36.8% running, rushing. So, but the obvious question we need to address here. First, congratulations to Terry McLaurin for showing the real Terry McLaurin showed up. And so congrats to that. But the obvious question is quarterback, because Sam Howell was benched in favor of Jacoby Brissett. He looked terrible. Jacoby Brissett came in and immediately scored 2 touchdowns, and the offense looked like an actual NFL offense again all of a sudden. And was this Brissett's doing? Does Sam Howell suck? Was it the Rams just playing prevent because the game was over? What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, there's that. There's the Rams don't have a game plan for Jacoby Brissett, that day. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that play into this. Glad it did look good under Jacoby Brissett. Like, it was nice to see a little life in the offense. And I think Sam Howell might have hit a wall, is what I think. If you look at his college numbers, this is more games than he's played in college. He's thrown like 150 more passes than he ever threw in college in a game. He could just be gassed at this point.
That theory would hold water if he hadn't started to suck like a month and a half ago.
He started to suck about 3 weeks ago, which would have been when that would have been his college season would have been.
I wasn't that impressed with him before. He was always throwing a ton of interceptions.
Well, yeah, he's had a couple bad games. Here's my thing. Ron Rivera said he did this to protect Sam Howell. Why didn't you do it, versus the Bills, versus the Giants? These games where he was getting 5, 10 sacks.
You can't trust what Ron Rivera says about it.
Oh, right. But it doesn't hold water with me. Yeah. I would have pulled. I said after that Bills game, I would have pulled Sam Howell after the second interception. There was no value in him staying out there and just getting clobbered. But now you're doing it after you've been eliminated, after your team's been, effectively pummeled and has zero morale left. That's when you're deciding to make the move. That's way too late.
Dave.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. It boils down to, over the last 4 games, he's had a interception percentage that was double his touchdown percentage, more than doubled, sitting at 4.2%, which is horrible.
Yeah.
And then when you look at his quarterback rating, I had 1 game in those last 4 games where he was over 70, but he averaged about a 59.4 rating over these last 4 games. And we can, I'm sure, we could talk about the fact that, sure, this is at a point in his college career where his season's over, but this is year 2 in the NFL for him. He didn't, started 1 game last year, but he's 3 years away from playing in college. If he's not conditioned enough at this point to get past this part of the season, then will he ever be? So that's kind of that's all another conversation. But the biggest thing that I think with Hal, that what we see is I think he's actually plateaued. I think we see him at his ceiling right now. And I say that because when you go over the course of the season, which is what I put in my article, he had 7 games that were really good games this year. But what scares you the most, though, in this whole process is that his what Pro Football Reference labels as his successful pass percentage, which is in a low 40%.
Mhm.
And your average starters are well above 50% on that. And what that accounts for is that depending upon first down and your first down and distance, whether it's 10 yards or greater, 5 yards or greater, and then second down, third down, and how he converts them and so forth, and how they calculate all that, his success rate mirrors that of what you see on Daniel Jones. And I talked about that 2 articles ago. And he's still doing the same thing. There's been no progression in his success rate in his passes. Yeah, he has some nice some scrambles and runs for a 22-yard first down here or whatever. And every now and then he makes that one crazy throw across his body, drops it in the breadbasket of McLaurin for a first down, which is all great. And we saw those flashes in those 7 games earlier in the year. But the problem is his overall success rate throughout the course of the entire year has hardly changed. And he is who he is, and there has been no development in that, and when he's bad, he's ugly bad. It's not even like, he did a few things wrong. No, he's just bad. So, and that was the biggest concern I had going into this year, that I got ripped for by some fans talking about his inconsistencies, how he was in college. He's the same thing now as he was in his college career.
He's not a guy that's going to elevate anybody around him. He was good in North Carolina for a while when he had talent around him, and when all that talent left, all of a sudden he wasn't. I like the success rate call up. He's ranked 20th in the NFL by success rate, and he's ranked about the same, 23rd by quarterback rating. And I think that's about fair. A 2.8 interception rating, which is, third, tied for 4th worst in the league.
Yeah.
And I think the guy has a decent arm in terms of accuracy when he's on. He seems to be better on the move. He can create, and he's fairly athletic in terms of running, but the guy cannot read a field to save his life. Makes bad decisions. How many times have we seen wide open receivers that he just does not see? And all these interceptions, personally, the guy's a 5th round pick. He was never even supposed to be a starter. I think if I was a coach, I'd seen enough of him. I think they should have let Jacoby Brissett compete from the beginning, for the job.
Right.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. That, like, the non-competition things they've done each year is no good. Now I don't see it quite as negatively as you do. I think that he has some tools. I don't think he has every single tool you dream of for a perfect QB, but there's enough there where I think he's got, like, Baker Mayfield level, like, that would be his ceiling. If you let it play out for a couple of years, I think that's where he would get to. But now it's a fair question. Is that ever going to win you a Super Bowl? I don't think so. That's good. You could probably have a 8 to 10 win team every couple of years if you build up around him. But I don't know if he's more than that. And, you hear mostly good things about him in the locker room and stuff like that. So it's like, the big picture, of course, is we're going to eventually talk about, do you move on from him next year? Right. Of course, that's what it all comes down to. And, you did that poll, Steve. I'm just going to read off the results of that poll because I think
go ahead. Read the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Steve put a poll out there after the game. Have you seen enough of Hal to believe that he isn't good enough to be Washington's future at QB? Vote and comment. We had about 300 votes, and 40.6% said yes, they've seen enough. 59.4% still are saying no. So, I think that's not necessarily surprising to me. I think there's a huge chunk of this fan base that has zero patience. So, it doesn't surprise me that Steve raised his hand.
Of course, I'm not, I don't know if I'd qualify myself as in the fan base anymore, but
right.
I just think people are, for weird, I get it. You guys out there are, like, starving for a franchise quarterback. I totally understand that. And people have really keyed in on him. Every year it's somebody. This
Right.
year it's Sam Howell. It was the guy like Taylor Heineke last year. People loved him for a while. I mean, the Washington fan base really falls in love with some of these players, and that is Sam
Right.
Howell. But I just don't think he's worthwhile. His name is inconsistency. That's
Sure.
what he is. Like Dave, you went over. I count six. One, two, three. I count really six quality games from him this year. The Denver game, a quarterback rating of 108. The Atlanta game, Philadelphia 98.6, Chicago 99.1, Atlanta 119.7, Philadelphia 114. Those are in the Seahawks 109. Is that six? Yeah, that's six. So, but he's had some real stinkers.
Yeah,
you
he
know.
absolutely has.
Right.
Now, and I'm going to read a few of the comments that I think pertain to this discussion, and here's one from a guy, Jazz AP FSP. I don't know what that is. Jazz, he points out Kirk Cousins, when he first started here, had some real inconsistency his first couple starts in his first season or so. I do think it's true. A lot of quarterbacks struggle and they'll have these ebbs and flows. The question is, does your coaching staff see a way out of it? Do they see a way to build around him, or not? And unfortunately for Sam, it's not going to be Eric Bieniemy here next year. It's not going to be
Right.
Ron Rivera. It's going to be an all-new staff. The odds are not in his favor that they'll want to do this.
Right.
They'll want their own guy. I get it. And then, other people, you see a lot of the same point, antisocial socialists, Echo 3451, all pointing out how the team around him is so bad, it's very hard to evaluate him, basically.
Harold H9 wrote a long comment, so thanks, but the last part, dude is better than everyone we had the last 5 to 10 years. Give him a chance.
I mean,
what are you watching, Harold? I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but I mean, let's have a little bit of reality here. Kirk Cousins, you may not like him. Kirk Cousins had some statistically really good quality years. And
if you want to go back to yes, 5 years, he might have a point.
I don't know if he does have a point. If you want to go 10 years, you got RG3.
No, Kirk is there, RG3 is there. There's
Yeah. And so I mean, and Alex Smith, when he was there, had 1 year where he was the best quarterback in a while. So it's not accurate to say. And just because you're piling on cumulative stats and a ton of yards, you're not winning games. You're throwing a ton of interceptions. You're taking a ton of sacks, and you're missing reads consistently.
The problem is, in my mind, they are not asking Sam Howell to be a game managing quarterback right now. In that, Alex Smith was great because he was a great game manager as a veteran. Taylor Heineke, at his best, was a good game manager, right? That was the style of play they wanted. Eric Bieniemy, because he had Patrick Mahomes, I think, and he comes from that Andy Reid offense of scrambling quarterbacks, he has no concept of a quarterback just playing point guard and playing game manager.
Right.
Which I'm sorry, I think that does hurt developing a young quarterback into a pro. If you're not, how long did it take them to start having Hal snap balls from under center? That's something you've got to be doing so you learn how to do it.
Right.
This is not good quarterback development there.
Well, that's the kind of history of this franchise. Roy Steve has talked about that multiple times. Yeah.
The only person who really ever tried was McVay and Gruden. They're the only guys who ever even tried to develop quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The rest of them have no patience whatsoever. But in this case, we've seen the guys played, 14 games. Go ahead, Dave. It's just frustrating.
Well, on this comment with Keith, which is at Keith 935576644, he says, regardless, I take a left tackle. A fresh new rookie behind this line gets hammered. So now my question is to you two: How many seasons were the Redskins considered championship contenders or even contenders for their own division when they had Chris Samuels and Trent Williams back to back. Can we
Hall of
count on
Fame
one hand
quality
probably?
talent.
Hall of Fame quality talent. And how many times were we contenders going into the year? Serious contenders.
Well, look at I
two.
give you Exhibit
Yeah,
A,
right.
C.J. Stroud. Okay, I mean, I knew he was the best quarterback in the draft. The fools out there said Bryce Young was, but they don't know what they're talking about. But
Right.
the Texans don't have a ton of talent. They had major gaps.
Sure.
And they have what did they have? They had a quality mix of a good young coach in D'Amico Ryans, and they had a C.J. Stroud. And what has he done? He has lifted everybody else around him. That is what good quarterbacks do. And you could go back through, like Troy Aikman. You could tell immediately. Troy Aikman, lost a bunch of games as a rookie and threw a bunch of interceptions, but you could tell that guy was in command and he was making people better. And the same with Peyton Manning. You knew it immediately. For those of you young enough to remember Peyton Manning.
And those two had arguably two of the worst rookie years of any rookie.
Right, but you could see it immediately from those guys. I just don't see that from Sam. I know he's not the worst. He's not, Shane Matthews or something, but he's just, he's certainly not worth not drafting like Caleb Williams if they have a chance. And one more comment here, because we always have these guys. Mike at Tweetapog, great name. What an absurd choice of wording for the poll. Let me tell you something, Mike. This is not Quinnipiac, okay? This is not the Harvard-Harris poll. We're not trying to prove an academic point. It's called entertainment.
We're not Rasmussen?
No, we're not. It's just entertainment, okay? We're just trying to generate a discussion. That's it. So if you don't like the poll, don't vote in the poll. I couldn't care less.
Right.
I just think it's funny that these people want to criticize us.
One of those
Twitter
every
poll.
time you do a poll.
Yeah, I know.
It might be the same guy. I don't care.
It's a stupid Twitter poll,
Yeah. No. And I think we actually got some good responses there.
Yeah, we did. It worked. People had opinions and they expressed them, and in a competent manner.
Goal. Yes. Yeah. The goal of the poll is for people to say things.
I use my polls in a way that I want to generate comments.
Yeah, I mean, so
no, not at all.
We will see what they do at quarterback, and we're going to talk about that, I think, a little more.
And we need to point out that Ron Rivera, I did listen to the post-game cover because I was in the car, and Ron Rivera basically said, status quo. So the intent, I guess, is to start Howell.
Well, unless Sam Howell gets Terry McLaurin hurt, he's going to be fine.
I kind of wondered if Howell would come down with a mysterious injury, to be honest.
Oh
no, my knee hurts. Yeah. I kind of wondered, but I guess not.
Yeah, because the Jets, who we should talk about at some point, but
we're gonna get there.
Yeah, their quarterback has a mysterious head injury or something. The one thing we got to talk about though, Cameron Cheeseman finally cut. I guess if you get the best player on the team hurt with a bad snap, you can finally get yourself cut. I know, Steve, you were a big advocate of his when the whole draft thing came out.
Well,
he cut that one long snapper guy, and he said he was the best guy in the draft.
No, he said he gave me 3 names, and Cheeseman was the third one.
Oh, Cheeseman was the third. I thought.
That guy said, and it was said that there were 3 NFL
3
quality snappers in the draft, and I actually kind of figured in that draft year that Washington traded up to get Cheeseman because they obviously needed a snapper. The other guy, whatever his name was, just got drafted, and that was when Washington. So it wasn't that I'm a Cameron Cheeseman fan. It just I knew that guy was known as one
the top guy was already taken. That's
right.
But so Cheeseman's finally gone. Again, and it harkens back to kind of what I said about the whole why didn't you bench Sam Howell earlier when he was struggling in games. Cheeseman's been bad all year. Why would you wait this long to make a move?
Well, because they need to have someone that can replace him. That's why.
It's not that hard to find long snappers.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, it is.
I mean, every college has long snappers. They all
those guys suck, though, Alex.
Well, not. So does Cheeseman.
I mean, they tried, to find him, but
so they're bringing in Tucker Addington. I'll put that out there. He's he graduated in 2020. was with the Houston Gamblers of the USFL after he graduated. And
I
then
might
also
have been
spent
within 20 feet of Tucker Addington if he was with the Houston
no,
Gamblers.
because the Houston Gamblers never played in Houston.
Is this not the AFL team that's there now,
No,
or the
it's the
XFL or whatever?
USFL team.
Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah.
Who, despite being called the Houston Gamblers, they played all their games in Birmingham, Alabama.
And incidentally, gambling's illegal in Texas. Just FYI.
Yeah, it's a terrible name. I don't. It was the '80s. I don't know what. Everyone was high on cocaine. I was.
Well, so what team did I go to a rally for then?
That was the Houston Roughnecks.
Because it was me and a coworker and about 20 homeless drug addicts. That was who was at the rally.
Yeah. They've dissolved the Roughnecks and now have replaced them with the Gamblers. So it's a thing. We're not going to talk about that now.
Want to do a Houston Gamblers podcast, Alex?
Steve, I don't think anyone cares about the Houston Gamblers in Houston. So
I know they don't. I live in Houston. I didn't even know there was a Houston Gamblers.
Addington was also with the Cowboys and the Patriots. He played 3 games for the Patriots when their snapper got hurt 2 years ago, I think. And then he was with the Jaguars in the offseason. So he's a guy. He will replace him, and hopefully you don't notice. And it's just we snap the ball, and the ball goes to the punter and doesn't get him hurt.
And that's the most we'll ever talk about Tucker Addington.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yep. But, you guys know this. Like, long snapper's that weird thing where if a guy's decent, you just keep him for 15 years, and you don't.
Washington's had a couple of them.
Yeah.
You mean like Nick Sundberg?
Yeah, and then Ethan Albright before that, the red snapper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should never have gotten rid of the red snapper.
He was like 40 when they got rid of him, too.
How hard is it to snap, though? I mean, in terms of like physical ability, you can keep doing that forever.
Start locking up on you at some point.
I guess.
No, I'm with you. Like, why would you ever get rid of a guy until he's like, I'm too old?
Yeah, I felt bad for poor Ethan.
Yeah, I felt bad for Nick Sundberg when they fired him. Like, he was a very good in the community guy, very active.
It's another stupid thing Ron Rivera did. It's like, why were you arbitrarily getting rid of the snapper? I never really understood that.
He was 30-something years old. He was in his early 30s. He could have snapped for another 10 years.
Great move, Ron. Look what you did.
Yeah, good job. So that's the snapper situation. I guess the only other question is, are you guys surprised that they're going back to Howell or not? Like, would you guys go back to Sam Howell for this next game?
I'm not surprised they're going back to him because at this point it's over.
Right.
You could get Semi Baugh in there, and it doesn't matter. They're 4-10.
Right.
Who cares? So just let him play it out the string. It does. It doesn't matter. I mean, I think they should have had a competition in the beginning of the season to see.
Sure.
Because I don't. It's just. Yeah, you want to use your draft pick. He's a 5th round pick.
Right.
That's backup, territory. It's not like Howell was a 1st round pick that they had to use him.
And I think the worst part of that is that when Brissett came in the way he did, you saw what he did in Cleveland last year in play for Watson. He did well. In fact, I believe when you talked about it last year, Steve, I think he had one of his better years last year as a starter when he was filling in for Watson last year.
Yeah, I did.
And so it was like, I mean, that was kind of what could have been if you really actually had that true competition. And if he won that competition, you probably would have had a team a little bit better off than what you have today.
Oh, I think.
But then it also, but then also begs to the question, because the way the rest of the roster is, you might have put yourself just at a point to where you just missed the playoffs and you're drafting 16, 17 again. You're not in a position to get yourself a franchise quarterback as well. So it's kind of like, damn if you do, damn if you don't, because right now we are in position as a team to actually draft that potential franchise quarterback if the new regime chooses to do so. At 16, you're not doing that unless you mortgage everything to go up.
If they end up in the top 5, which is what it will likely be if they don't beat the Jets, because this is their last winnable game probably.
Right.
Not probably.
Definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I'm saying probably because let's say Dallas rests all their starters, Steve. I
They're
don't
in
know.
competition for their ranking in the playoff seeding. They're not going to
Yeah.
rest their starters.
It doesn't matter. Their second string is better than our first string anyway. What's the point?
Also, another good point.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But if they don't beat the Jets, then they're talking top 5. There's 3. I think everyone's kind of come down to there's 3 good quarterbacks in this draft class. So you've got a good shot at least one of them.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And they
okay.
have to at least really consider it at that point.
Let's preview the Jets real fast because really, does anybody care? I mean, is there anybody?
Hey, Aaron Rodgers will be on the sideline, Steve.
He's apparently made some fantastic recovery,
No,
but he's not going to.
He hasn't. He's not cleared to play. He's just going to be on the sidelines.
Yeah, the Jets are down to Trevor Siemian, which is, that's ungood.
Yes. Anytime Trevor Siemian's name comes out of your mouth, it's not a good day.
Yeah, like I made a word up. Ungood. Okay, so
let's not forget what DeVito did against his defense. So it's not like that's a easy win for us.
I don't think we're saying anything like
that.
Trevor Siemian could beat this defense like a drum, but he's still Trevor Siemian.
The general gist of the Jets, in like simple form, is that their offense sucks and their really, really sucks, and their defense is pretty good. Okay, that's the Jets in a nutshell. The Jets have scored 201 points, which is way worse than Washington, believe it or not.
32nd on offense. Yes.
By some measures, at least they are.
Yeah.
When you have Trevor Siemian, I mean, come on. And their quarterback rating as a whole is 70.7 on the season, and that's before Siemian played. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Zach Wilson, we were talking about it a little. I was mentioning it earlier in the show. He's basically given up on the team. He's like faking head injuries so he doesn't have to go play at this point.
And you need to man up, dude. You're making millions of dollars. They really don't have anybody all that threatening.
No.
They have a name, Dalvin Cook, but like Breece Hall.
Well, no. Offensively, they do have weapons. Offensively, they have Breece Hall and they do have Garrett Wilson, are two very, very good offensive. Their only problem is that quarterback position, like you're talking about, and their offensive line has been bad. Skill position players. But go ahead.
Those guys haven't produced particularly. Breece Hall, a name. He's rushed for 4.2 yards per attempt this year. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'll give you Garrett Wilson, 79 receptions, 882 yards. It's only 11.2 yards per reception. And he only has 3 touchdowns. So those are names, but they're not producing like elite players. They don't have anybody that scares me.
They're physically gifted athletes, though, who will out-athlete our terrible corners.
That is true.
And you're not wrong about that, Steve. But my point is that most of the year they've gone against defenses that have been overpowering and manhandling their offensive line. So Breece Hall's got minimal to no running lanes to run into, and Garrett Wilson's been going against some really good corners all year with a bad quarterback play. Now comes in our defense. Breece Hall is going to have running lanes, period. Even with that dreck of an offensive line that they have, our defense cannot stop the run, period. And then you talk about our corners, it's just, we see it every single week, constantly. Exactly. So I think the point that I'm trying to make is that their deficiencies match up favorably against our deficiencies. And I think that's where you're going to have the opportunity for those players to really kind of have a potential breakout game that they haven't had for a few weeks now. And they're primed to do that against this defense. That's just my point. That's all.
I don't think they're going to be able to get it together, though, to be honest.
Maybe not.
Yeah. I get your point. I think you're making a good analytical point for sure, and I agree with it. And that's kind of where I was sort of leading with it. It was down that rabbit hole. But that's assuming the Jets can get it together. The Jets somehow beat the Texans.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened, but beyond that game, here's some points scored since their bye week. You ready? 13-6, 12-6, 13-8. The outlier is the Texans, 30 points, and then 0 against the Dolphins. That is lousy. And
Yeah.
I didn't watch that Texans. I watched a little bit of that Texans Jets game. That
They
was 2
beat the
weeks.
Eagles too, which is a random one.
Yeah, that
They've
was
had a
early in the
couple
year.
random
Yeah.
wins.
Yeah, earlier in the year in week 6. So I just don't. While I agree with you in what you're saying, I just don't know if the Jets offense can get together, especially with Trevor Siemian in there.
I think their wins primarily came off the backs of the defense, anyways, when it was in those situations. So it's really, as that defense goes, the Jets go, which has been like that all year.
Sure.
Because their offense, like you said, has been atrocious all year. So
Well, let's talk about their defense, shall we? So defense, they are 11th in the NFL as measured by points scored. 287 as compared to Washington, which is, drum roll please, would you care to guess the position Washington is as measured by points scored against?
34th.
32nd. See, they're better than you thought. Okay, and then
silver lining.
they're not 34th in the 32-team league. But passing defense, quarterback rating against, 5th in the NFL, 79.5. That's.
It's not good. That's not a good number.
Oh, it is a good number. They're 5th best in the NFL. 79.5 against.
Oh, I thought you were saying their offense.
No, I'm saying their defense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then rushing defense, 4.0 yards per attempt.
So
which is
right
tied
at
for
the magic number.
Tied at 11. So their defense is the only thing that keeps them in games, if to the extent they're in games, and they haven't been in any games except for the Texans for a while.
So, okay, you guys know I go up to New York to visit my family for the holiday, and this game is on Christmas Eve. And, like, how much money would someone have to pay me to go to that game at this point? Because I'm not paying to go. I need to be paid.
No.
It's at MetLife Stadium. You could make a sojourn.
It would be from Queens. That it's almost as long to get from Queens to MetLife as it is to get from here to MetLife.
If you were a real fan, you'd do it.
I don't want to go out. I gotta make dinner technically. So
we know how you feel. No, I get it. I mean, why? It's a dreck of a game. It's going to be shown in the New York and DC market, and that's it.
Right.
Right.
It's not going to be pretty.
I personally, I don't even think it's worth wasting any more of our time. We talked about it. If you want a real quick game plan for how to win, and some of you don't, some of you are rooting for a loss. The Jets' offense sucks, right?
Yep.
But their defense is okay. So I think what you need to do here is long, slow drives, get control of the play clock, get your offense on kind of a good solid path on this. That's the stop. That's the one. Slow down the run game and force Trevor Siemian to beat you. Don't let Breece Hall get rolling. They've got a third string quarterback out there. Put it on him. And then Washington secondary has killed them for what seems like 15 years in a row.
Yeah.
And so if they keep letting people like Cooper Kupp literally walk into the end zone with nobody around him, they're going to lose.
The cover zero off defense.
It's literally cover. It's zero, meaning zero people cover him.
Right.
That's what zero means.
Right. It's not cover zero what everyone thinks it should mean.
No, it's Washington's famous cover zero. We're not going to cover him. That's what cover zero means to Washington. But that's what I think Washington needs to do to win the game. So I'm done. I'm done with the Jets.
Yep. I'm done.
Score prediction?
Quick score
prediction. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Since you brought it up, Dave, you go first.
I think the Jets get a defensive score off of a pick six, and I think they pull this game out 19-6.
Okay, Alex.
I unfortunately, and I said unfortunately because it hurts our draft position, I think Washington wins this one, 14-10.
I had a similar score as does Alex. I think Washington the Jets really are bad.
Yeah.
Washington is too, and so it's a battle of like the least worst kind of. But I think the Washington may actually pull this one out. They've got to win one game, and this is going to be the one. So it's like 17-10, something like that. Low scoring.
That's all right. So last topic that we want to cover because it's been making waves all over the internets in the sports world. Rashard Mendenhall said something really, really stupid and racist. Good for him.
You want to read it
Mendenhall.
out so that people? I don't know if we can use every word, maybe, but
No, I don't think there's any profanity.
there isn't. Okay.
Mendenhall tweeted out on December 18th that he is simply tired of being berated by people who aren't experts in the game. We just pretend like I'm the only athlete.
That's not the right one. Are you getting to the bad part?
Oh no, you're right. That is the wrong one.
Yeah,
that is just him.
That was his pseudo apology.
Yes, that was his pseudo apology. Basically, Mendenhall tweeted out that he wants to see an all white versus all black game instead of the Pro Bowl. That was his stupid thing he tweeted. Let me see if I can find the actual tweet though. Meanwhile,
okay, I got it. Here's what he said. Yeah, this is Rashard Mendenhall posted December 18th. I'm sick of average white guys commenting on football. Y'all not even good at football. Can we please replace the Pro Bowl with an all-black versus all-white bowl so these cats can stop trying to teach me who's good at football? I'm better than your GOAT. So that is Rashard Mendenhall, and what a freaking ignorant thing to say.
Yes.
I don't know why I don't know, maybe he did get called out by people.
He's been called out pretty widely.
Including African Americans, hopefully. Because this is just blatantly racist. You know, what you're doing, Rashard, is you're stereotyping a group of people, which is precisely the wrong thing to do, and is precisely what has been done to African Americans over years and years and years in the country. Right. So what you're doing is perpetuating stereotypes, which is precisely what African Americans have been asking the public to stop doing to them.
Right.
So this shows
he's going full George Preston Mendenhall is what it is.
Kind of, yeah. So this is him being ignorant, blatantly racist, a fool. What you did is you showed your utter ignorance here, and so I have absolutely no respect for you.
Also, I can at least name a handful of white running backs who are better running backs than you, so shut the hell up about that. Like
John Riggins.
You're not the greatest running back of all time. And Emmitt Smith could say he's the greatest of all time and better than any
He could make an argument at least, yes.
Yes. He could say, I'm better than any white running back. I would say, okay, you probably have a fair point, Emmitt Smith, and I still don't like you because you are a cowboy, but you have a point.
Why don't we graduate to let's ignore the fact that they're white or black and treat them as people and individuals that they are? How about that, Rashard Mendenhall?
Right. Football is a game played by a lot of diverse groups of people. Well, 3, but still.
Multiple. You could be in there. There have been people of all different persuasions in the NFL.
Sure.
But more importantly, the point here is that as a society, what perpetuates racism, and you have idiots like this,
right,
who are playing into and perpetuate these stereotypes. Sure. It's just ignorant.
Well, the core of racism is stupidity. We all know that.
Right. And the worst part is that all this stemmed off of because he was reminded of a fumble in the most crucial point of his career in a Super Bowl against the Green Bay Packers that essentially cost them that game.
And who was it? A.J. Hawk who caused the fumble? I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember who it was exactly, but so he got upset because of that, and I believe it was an average run-of-the-mill armchair white guy that said that, so that's where he came out with this whole rant. And so you coming out, you could come out and dispute that. You can come out and have a little Twitter fight go back and forth.
Sure.
You could do all that like other athletes do, and that's fine. It's all fun and game. You may take a little serious and whatever. But you've allowed that to drive you into a direction of showing your true colors and showing the racist that you truly are. And it's a shame. It really is, because you have a lot of people on all walks of life, multiple cultures. I'm not just talking about race. I'm talking about across every ethnicity that have done so much to this point in all walks of life to get past this level of stereotype, this level of hate. And even though it still resonates in this country in so many aspects, sure, but where we've gotten to this point, to where how we were back in the 40s, the 50s, and 60s. We're trying to progress forward with this, not to set ourselves back.
That's
just
exactly
like what
right.
RG3 said.
I mean, we're always trying to go forward. Like, it's the whole making a more perfect society in that regard.
And I would also like to point out that if a white running back had said, "I'm sick of these black players commenting on my play,"
he'd be done. Yeah,
he would be excommunicated from American society. And so where is the call for Rashard Mendenhall to be excommunicated from society? There is a double standard with this too.
Right.
I would agree with you there that there should be even more outrage probably towards him for saying that's something that's stupid.
Just to add, Rashard, when you say the comment, "I'm greater than your GOAT," Christian McCaffrey is waiting for your phone call, and you guys can have that discussion.
There you go. John Riggins in his Super Bowl ring say hello.
Hell, I'll throw Brian Piccolo in there.
Brian Piccolo even says hello, damn it.
Well, from beyond the grave, I guess.
Yeah, right.
He's watching from above somewhere, shaking his head at Rashard Mendenhall's ignorance.
Maybe above. I hope.
Right.
Crazy. Yeah. The football players back then were just brutal.
and I guess I think, Dave, you told me before we started the show that I guess RG3 went on some kind of rant about this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he pretty much, basically admonished Shore, and he even made the comment, is like, don't set us back. You're setting us back doing all this. It's like, and he had his little playful comments on what the all black and the all white, how that would turn out. Of course, he threw that in there because that's just what RG3 does. But he did call him a few choice words, calling him ignorant and let's not be racist. So he completely destroyed Rashard Mendenhall for going on, which I do applaud him for that.
Absolutely.
And Mike Allstott also would just run over Rashard.
There you go, Mike Allstott. There's another one.
If we're counting a fullback, why not?
He counts. Mike Allstott was a good player. He counts.
Sure. Very good player. He should have been a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I think that's enough.
We've made our point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, guys. That should take care of this week's show. Again, have a merry, happy Christmas.
Merry. Do not have a happy Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas.
Have a hairy Christmas.
Yes. That's a whole nother event. Hairy Christmas.
That's what Santa and Mrs. Santa do.
I have some really gross images in my mind right now. Thanks to you. Thanks, Alex.
All right, guys.
Have a great Merry Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas to you guys.
And just real quick, for all the guys out there that still have young kids, I'm in the grandpa stage now. Don't let that run past you. Enjoy this Christmas. Have a great time with your kids, because it's going to be gone in the blink of an eye.
Also, because let's be honest, buying presents for kids is the only fun part. When buying it for adults is awful. When you can it gives you an excuse to play with Legos and whatever else stupid toy you get your kids.
I have an unwrapped box. I have an unwrapped box I'm looking at right now under the tree. That is the Christmas gift that I bought for myself.
Is it just another guitar, Steve?
No, it's not just another guitar. It was something my parents said, we need to get you a gift. So I saw it and they sent me money and I bought it. And my mother said, would you wrap it? No, I will not wrap it, but I'll put it under the tree. Not wrapping a gift I bought myself.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, guys. Have a Merry Christmas. See you then.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
See you next week. Bye.